Hello, good evening.
Are we on?
We are on.
Okay.
You're funny.
So I
What?
thought I had 5 minutes because uh, I actually had a song that I wanted to play, and so being that I didn't get to, uh, we got one person in here so far. I think I don't know,
That's
but
on that string.
it's our anniversary,
It's
man.
our anniversary.
And we're only going to stay here for about 20 or 25 minutes. And we probably won't even get to rebuilding the temple. But I was sitting there and I was thinking today, and boy, I just pretty much all teared up, man, because I was looking back here at these 15 years. You say 14, I say 15 because
15
I've been
together.
with you.
Yeah.
And so I was looking back, and I was just looking through the years, and I was looking at first and foremost, how many people's lives we touch, from children
Mhm.
to basketball teams to
Mhm.
homeless people to, we just touch a lot of different types of people.
Thanks, Kay.
You know, we really have. And most of it's gone unseen. And that's the good thing about it, because the Bible tells us that what we do in secret, that God will reward us.
Mhm.
And I meant to bring my glasses so I don't tear up. But one of the things that I think about the most is when we're talking about rebuilding the temple, I had to revisit where I've been, before I met you. And the Bible says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And so I was sitting there and I was thinking about, and I was getting all teared up today, and I was just thinking about, some people's darkness is different from your darkness.
Mhm.
And I was sitting there and I was thinking about where I was at 20 years ago. And then from that time period, that in between period, those 5 years that I've been with you. And I was sitting there thinking about how.
You mean before you got with me?
Before I got with you, yeah, previously. And I was sitting there and I was thinking about the scripture, 2 Kings. One of my favorite scriptures is, who am I, God? David says, and what is my family that you brought me this for?
Mhm.
And it's, it's I ain't been the perfect man,
Mhm.
but I've done the best that I can so far, and I strive for progression.
Mhm.
And we have
You're
our
perfect for
ups
me.
and we have our downs. Thank you. And
You gotta look at
we've
my
had
eyes
our
when I say that.
I'm speaking to them right now, though, but we have our ins and we have our outs. And I'm just sitting there and I was just thinking, like, about rebuilding the temple and having a new makeover
Mm.
of who you are spiritually, physically, and relationally.
Mhm.
And what made me want to talk about this, and we won't talk about it tonight, but just share with you how I'm so grateful that God has brought you in my life,
Oh,
and
I gotta
that
get
how
tissue.
grateful I am that that God gave me someone who loved him more than she would love her husband. And by that, I knew everything was going to be okay. So I just wanted to kind of just talk about, again, rebuilding the temple. And sometimes, guys, like, even through your darkness and going through failure, you have to have a readiness to put yourself in a different position.
Mhm.
And if you can put yourself in a different position, then if you can reposition yourself, then there's faith, there's hope, and there's love.
Well, can I say how glad I am God put you in my life before you go in?
Sure.
I like to look you in the eyes, though. That's our little thing, because I have to stop him every day, and I'll say, look me in my eyes, and I'll say, look in my right eyes, because in life we're going and we pass by each other, but
Right.
I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
I love you.
Right.
I thank God for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Oh no. I was wondering when you was gonna appreciate that, when you was gonna really tell me that. I didn't know if you really realized that or not. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I just realized it right now.
I believe it. I believe it.
No, I realized a long time, and I'm very
appreciate
grateful. And before you go on to yours, I just want to encourage everybody out there to be prayerful. Write down what it is that you want, and God will give it to you. It doesn't mean that He's going to give it to you without challenges.
Right.
But if He gives it to you, He will give you the ability to maintain it, to stand through the storms, and to grow in it.
Well, let's just be honest, Karen. That's why I'm kind of talking about rebuilding the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Look, y'all, we have some fun with it. There was times when I first met Karen that I packed up my stuff every weekend.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of cleaning his closet.
And I was ready to go, man, because I didn't know how to deal with a blended family.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the blueprint yet,
Mm-hmm.
And it was very frustrating, and I was trying to do things in my own power.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't know how to nurture. I didn't know how to be vulnerable. I was like, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah.
So it was like, you packing okay?
Yeah.
Do I need to help?
It's funny because I would pack up and then my stuff would, I'm like, oh my God, I got to take my stuff right out of the car on Sunday.
You call it cleaning out your closet.
Yeah, I was
Remember
just
that?
cleaning out my closet, but and then only that, it's just that we've been through, and I kind of like, that's why I like kind of sharing tonight about giving people faith and hope and love that, just because you go through some valley moments, and that may be with your husband, that might be with the death that we just experienced, that might be with your children, but there's a reason for everything. God works all things together for good.
All
man.
of it. He don't waste none of it.
And if you can just get you a good support system, if you can get around people that speaks life into you, because I could have been around people who say, you know what, you need to go ahead and leave her, and she don't appreciate you. She doesn't realize what you do, your sacrifices, your work ethic,
but I did.
And but I had friends to say, hang in there. I had friends say that, give it to God. I had friends say, hey, that you were wrong. You need to try this different approach with that. And so,
pray us through it.
When you're rebuilding something, you can't use the same old mindset, is what I'm trying to say.
You can't use the same bricks.
You can't, because when Nehemiah rebuilt the temple, he went back and he started building. And I don't want to get into church right now, but he did rebuild the temple. But one thing about rebuilding the temple, a lot of times, you have to, with a different mindset. You can't go in with the same mindset, guys.
No.
And so I'm just glad that God is teaching us every day on a daily basis is how to retool ourselves.
Yeah.
And how to put different utilize our skills in different ways so that we may. And I think the thing is that you learn how to serve each other. It's not about what you're not getting in a relationship, but it's about learning how to serve each other.
Yes.
And if you can serve each other, one of the things I learned the most in rebuilding not only myself, but in rebuilding my marriage, is that I understood that I could not get my wife to change who she is, and I could not change her. And I had to do a lot of prayer to ask God to intervene to do the things that I couldn't do,
right, to
minister into a way that I couldn't minister to her. And I think that's a big part of any relationship, is knowing that, we've talked about on this segment about that marrying potential.
Yeah.
And a lot of us marry potential, but what happens if that potential doesn't grow into the fullness that you think that they should have grown into in the 7 or 10 years that you've been with them?
So what you trying to say?
Can you be okay?
Look.
And that's what I've been sitting here thinking about today.
I'm like, what
can I be okay
if I'll never change?
If she never changes or grow into the woman that I think that she's supposed to.
That's super funny.
And she has one more year for me to really think about this.
Oh, you're too funny.
But
that's good though.
But it's real.
It's real good. One of the things that Marshall told me a long time ago was that I couldn't be don't be his Holy Spirit. He has the Holy Spirit. And that was like the biggest thing, that it was like an aha moment. I was like, you're right. I can't change him, but I can pray and ask God to to also enlighten him in areas that would come over as nagging for me, you know. So that's exciting.
Well, so Karen, tell me something.
What?
Since we're sitting on here talking about rebuilding, how did God have to prepare your mind for somebody like me or for your next husband?
Well, I had to, you know, I was one of those ones that very independent, didn't want to be submissive. Like that, the word made me itch.
Right. It still make you itch.
It does. It does. I do. I get my Benadryl and keep going now, but before I was like, oh my God. So it used to make me, you know, very uncomfortable and so what I had to do was do some study and find out what does that mean and what does that look like, and understand too that it was what God wanted.
Right.
So because that's what He wanted, I was willing to set my will to the side and learn how to be the type of potential wife, because I did it, you know, long before I got married, to learn how to be that potential wife. And then I stopped. It was a season I would go out with somebody and I'm like, oh, call my friends. And I was like, oh girl, I got to just tell you about so-and-so. Just got it. So and he told me to shut my mouth.
Right.
So you were a secret.
Right.
You know, for a long time, didn't nobody know that I met Marshall, that we were dating and all that. He said, you need to shut your mouth and let me cultivate that. So I had to really do a lot of submission. And then I had to do some self-reflection. I knew that I could have a little smart mouth.
Still do.
Yeah, but I know how to tame it now. And keep it quiet. But I knew those things. But I knew those things about I had to look at myself, and I knew that I didn't edify my ex-husband. I didn't raise, you know, I wasn't his cheerleader. So I had to identify those things that I was not doing, so I wouldn't repeat it.
What about some of the things that, like, how you feel about like what we have been rebuilding together? Do you think that's important in a relationship?
Oh my God.
You know, like that we have the same vision.
Yeah. But see, that was from the beginning. That was the anchor. That was the like vision and the like call on both of our lives that God had given us. That was the anchor. God has been the anchor. God is what's kept this thing together. You know, because we want to please God and we want to fulfill His will. Right. That's been the thing.
And so, you know, we like to be straight up, no chasing. And we've been through emotional adultery. We've been through adultery. And how did we bounce back from that? You know, I mean, because there's people on here watching.
Yeah.
You know, that every day I see people say, "Oh, girl, he cheated on me," or "She cheated on me," or how did we bounce back from that?
I think really we bounce back by being honest. You know, having those hard conversations. Right. And thank you, Dee. Happy Dee and Brenda and Ernie and Kay. But having those honest conversations and not sugarcoat nothing. You know, this is how it was. This is what it is.
You can't conquer what you don't confront. And I think that's the biggest thing because you know, we came in, and I don't want to get into it, but we came in and we were honest, and we were honest where we were at, and we were honest where God was in our lives, and we were honest with the calling that God had for us. Yes. And we could see the enemy, although we chose to do what we did, but we could see how the enemy was trying to use it, you know, and we would never be talking to some of the people's lives that we speak into now. You know, we do, you know, we do this broken branches thing, but Karen and I, we counsel so many people. I speak in so many lives. We have a restoration center that we partner with for men, you know, that have alcohol, drug, and addiction. And I do this every day, man. Every day I go and I do this. We have Karen. One thing I like about Karen has a rainbow color of friends. Karen has a rainbow of color of people. Most people that are therapists, you know, I'm not saying that they'll just, you know, they kind of like, how can I say it? Some of them can kind of be one-dimensional. They don't feel like they're comfortable with speaking to men, or, you know, they'll just stay with women or whatever. And that's one thing I like about you, is because I've seen you work with young people, men, women, homosexuality, rape, all kind of stuff. I've seen you, all different types of people, walks and aspects of life. I've seen you work with people, and I really admire that about you because, and I wouldn't just be saying that because you're my wife. I just admire that God has put that in you, and I've seen you grow so much within the last 5 years, I would say. And it's a difference between doing therapy and getting paid versus a difference in actually having some results.
Yeah.
And I've seen you get big time results. I've seen people call you Miss Karen, and Miss Karen is my family, and blah blah blah. Your fruit speaks for itself.
To God be the glory.
Yeah.
And so does yours. It's I see you getting the calls and you meeting a person one time, a chance moment, and they feel that you need to be a part of their lives. It's something that you have that they need. And so I see how God uses that. And so that, and seeing that and knowing that from the beginning in our relationship, we identify the enemy's attack. So a lot of times we can be blinded by things and like, we get so into our feelings and our flesh and our emotions. But when you understand that you have a call and you have a what do you call it? A purpose that's bigger than any temporary hurdle that we have to jump.
We only got about 5 minutes left before we go to dinner and before you change. And and so
I'm not changing.
We really didn't have to get on here tonight. And but one of the reasons I got on here tonight is because I truly love people. And I truly love speaking into people's life. God using me to speak in people's life. There's some things that I do, like I said, I ain't gotta have it on Facebook. I ain't gotta have it on Instagram. I don't have to for anybody to see, because what I do it in secret. And so, tonight I just kind of wanted to get on here and say happy anniversary to my wife. But most of all, I just want to thank the people that watches. I had a lady today, and Sandy, if you're watching today, she said, I used to stay next door to you. And I'm thinking to myself, now my high school teacher, Miss Renard, stayed to the right, Patnam stayed to across the street. And Sandy said, I stayed next door to you. And she said, one of my cousins, Stanley, was like a son to her. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I do remember her, but I was in college. I was gone away to college. But it amazes me that so many different people watch us and we never know who's watching us. So what I want to say is thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for supporting Broken Branches. And as Broken Branches grow, one of the things we're going to do for our daughter, because she was such a smart young lady, we're going to have a foundation for her. And we're going to give scholarships away for those that are high school students. And it may start out at 1,000 as it goes up. But one of the things that we like to do is when young people get out of school and to give them $1,000 and say, hey, this is for whatever. It could be for a laptop. It could be for whatever. And we're going to do that in Kiara's name, because Kiara was a very astute student. And she was just really a smart young lady. And so that's how we're going to remember her. But there's other things that's coming on Broken Branches. We've got counseling. We partner with a restoration center for men. We feed the community, and so there's so many other things that we want to do, but we're going to need your support. And so by you all saying that we're not doing this trying to get rich or wealthy. We actually are out here trying to help the people that are in poverty spiritually, financially, relationally, emotionally. This is what we do. I like to say that I'm a bond servant. Yes. I can't do anything else, because this is what God has called me to do.
Indeed.
This is a burden, my burden that God's given to me. And so as Broken Branches grow, guys, we're going to need more of your support. We're going to need your money, because you're going to be helping people that's for college, people that are trying to be restored, broken men that are trying to get back into be better husbands, better brothers, better wives, better mothers.
Yeah.
This is where Broken Branches is going, and so we just want to thank y'all for supporting us
Yeah.
and the people that come on here on a regular basis, and just continue to share, as we empower you.
Yeah. So to God be the glory.
Is there any last moment things you want to say
I don't
before
know.
we go?
I'm choked up for some reason. So
Why are you so choked up?
Oh, you're just talking about Kiara and, the foundation
Mm-hmm.
and all that. So that's,
Well, that's what we do. And we just want to say we love y'all. We appreciate you all, especially people like Miss D Gunn and Dolly.
Yes.
And D's always like, that's my sister. And I got to catch up with her because I ain't talked to my sister in a minute. And the other thing I want to say, man, to each his own, but there's people out here dying.
Yeah.
And they're dying every moment, every day, every minute.
And they don't know.
They don't know Christ, And so the other thing, to each his own, one of the things, and I'm not, you do you, right? But, I was, I wasn't going to get this shot. Karen. And I was like, man, I don't know about that. I got to pray about that. But I do believe God gives you wisdom and God gives you tools to use. You have to have the wisdom. So my thing is, whether you want to get it or you don't want to get it, just be safe because you're not promised tomorrow. We've lost 3 people in the last 2 weeks, and we just want to see y'all stay healthy mentally. So and that's pretty much it. So thank you all for sharing our 15th anniversary. We appreciate y'all.
It's really our 14th. Hey, Elder. It's really our 14th, but we've been together 15. I just let him go ahead on for the 15th. I'm hoping.
I don't know if she's gonna make it next year though, because she, I'm sure thinking about trading her in for a newer model. But
I tell him that I'll tell a younger model, a one that can get up and down the stairs a little faster.
Yeah. Okay.
I love you.
But thank
anyway,
you all,
y'all have
man.
a great
blessing,
night, and we'll see you next Monday.
And we'll see y'all. Yeah, we'll see y'all next Monday. Y'all have a good night. She gonna make it.
I hope so.
All right, let's go.
It's not off yet.